Hi everybody, it's Claire back with another art journal video, and it's another journal cover. I seem to have lots of these that I haven't edited, so I hope you're not bored of seeing art journal covers being created. As you know, I usually only do my journal covers when I've finished inside my journal, so it's kind of like I find it a bit of a treat. I love doing journal covers, and it's like, I don't know, it's like the finishing bow on a present. Not only is it quite exciting because it means I get to start a new journal, but I just like kind of adding those finishing touches to the covers, which do often get quite grubby while I'm using the journal and creating in it. So I'm starting off by adding some tissue paper, collage tissue paper from Dina Wakley. This is from the pack that came out that's got all the different grids in it. I think it might even be called grids. And I'm just adding some of this onto the page cover rather before I start, and I'm using a matte medium to stick it down. This also has the effect of kind of covering up some of those splodges that are there, but I don't worry about that too much because I kind of think that's just all part of the journey that this journal has been on. So for a change, I'm using Amsterdam acrylic paints, and I'm using just the kind of generic rainbow colours: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and then I do go in with some purple on the rest of my page later. So I'm doing the technique where you pick up the colours on your brush and just swipe it down your page. You do have to be a little bit careful doing this. It's quite easy to end up creating mud if you're not careful. So generally speaking, I'm just going to say I don't go back in and overbrush, but I did there. But I am being a little bit careful so that I'm only spreading on the colours that are already there. It is easy to end up with brown if you're not careful. So then it was nice and dry, and I'm using my floating stencil that I designed, Funky Fossil. And I'm going in with a nice lilac-y colour, and I'm just adding a little bit of stenciling onto the journal cover too. In a couple of the corners. I love this stencil. I think it's one of my favourites so far. And I'm going to do the same on the back as well as I've done on the front, because although you don't often see the back once it's on a shelf or stored away, it's nice to kind of make it feel complete, that it all works together, and kind of try to treat journal covers a little bit like it's just an extension of the art journal, so it's another journal page really. Yeah, except obviously this is the one that's on show. So starting to build up those layers now, you are going to need to take a deep breath before you watch this next bit. You know what's coming. It's time for the black gesso, and I have to be honest, when I'd done this I was like, yikes, I wish I'd left it right there, but I didn't. Kept going and adding more, and then I was like, yee, goodness, I've disappeared all that lovely background, what the heck. So I did get a baby wipe and remove some of the black, and it was okay because it wasn't dry, so it wasn't a disaster. I think I've left it in where I rub some of it away. You can see, there we go, just taking a bit off, and off the bottom as well, just to reveal a bit more of that lovely background underneath. Goodness me, got a bit carried away there, didn't I? But it's okay because it does work in the end. But yeah, while I was doing it I was kind of thinking, oh my days, there we go, and I've gone back in and kind of put back what I took away. Hey ho. So now I am using my black dotty stamp and adding some dots around, and I think the thing is, like, once I'd got to a point where I'd added that much black on it, I was like, I'm just going to have to go with this now. So there's a glimpse of the background underneath, but not not a massive amount, not as much of the goodness that was there. But I must admit, when it was finished, I was actually really happy with the way that it looked. And so that's one of the things that I try to do, even when things aren't quite how I imagined it might be is just to embrace it and go with it and not get too hung up on the fact that it isn't quite what I was hoping it would be. Doesn't always work, but you know. So now I am using my alphabet stamp set from Funky Fossil, and I'm going to do the words "journal it out." There's enough space on that a massive amount of black gesso that's on the front cover. I'm going to do some heat embossing, so I'm going to use a white powder, and I'm going to stamp the words onto the cover and heat emboss them just so that there is some white on top of the black, just to push the black away a little bit, and stamping them on using that embossing ink pad. You can see it's gone quite grubby. It is because I don't clean my stamps. It doesn't bother me at all in the slightest. Yeah, I haven't got time or inclination to clean stuff after I've used it, unless of course I've used acrylic paint on my stamps. In that case I do clean them, but yeah, I don't wipe them after I've used archival ink on them. So here I'm just knocking off any excess of the powder before I heat set it, because I wanted those letters to be nice and crisp and not to have any fluffy edges. So now I am heat setting it. You have to sometimes do it for quite a while. You can see when it starts to heat set because it changes how it looks. It goes from that kind of powdery look. It has a sort of shine to it, and you can sort of almost see it happen. It's like magic happening before your eyes. I am wearing a glove as well because I just don't really want to get archival ink and embossing ink all over my hand, so that's the reason for the glove. And as you know, my eldest daughter is a nail technician, and she's the one that does my nails, and I don't want to get in trouble. So a glove is the right way to go. So I'm just finishing stamping out the rest of the words, and I'll just let you watch that process and then I'll move on to the next bit. And then finally some white splatters. Now that really does calm that black down, don't you think? Oh dear. And that is it for this cover. So yeah, I got a bit excited with the black gesso, but I think it still worked okay. I've got those little pops of rainbow colour peeping out from underneath. So thanks for watching. I hope you found some inspiration from this. Maybe you'll be a bit more cautious with the black gesso if you're using it on your journal covers. And I hope to see you again soon.